All right, everyone, one second, one second, one second. Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. All right, all right, all right. So we have a speaker joining in, and everyone out there, once again, a warm welcome to Aura 8. This is where we go live every single day and talk about the future of money. Money is something that the entire world needs, of course. However, the definition of money is changing at a rapid speed, and the speed is something that we have never seen before. People talk about it, yeah, it is similar to the earlier days when computers came in, but a guest still joined us. So let me not be further. Vishal, how are you doing?
Very, very good, Vaibhav. How are you doing? Such a great time to talk to you because finally the war has ended and Bitcoin is going up.
Well, first thing I want to apologize to you because I think maybe a year and a half ago, we were supposed to do Roadcast, which is my signature podcast, where we drive in the car and we have a conversation. But, I'm not embarrassed to admit it now. The day before we were supposed to shoot it, I was having a meal and I had veneers on and I cracked like couple of
Ah,
tooth. And I was like, how am I going to do a video shoot with a couple of broken tooth? But then I'm glad that we are here. So I'll tell you the objective of this live stream is where we talk about the future of money, and nobody better than you. The reason being, you were the first guy in India to have $100 million exit. I don't think it is spoken enough these days because we are now chasing the $1 billion dream, the unicorn dream. But then you are the original poster boy of Indian startups, and I truly believe this when I say this because I think I've been following you. I think from Orkut or Facebook. Now, guys, don't
wow,
judge our age. Don't ask us what is Orkut.
wow. Orkut is ancient. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think the way you have evolved right from the real hardcore gaming days with India Games. I think the first time I ever saw you on TV was with Shah Rukh Khan when you were launching the Ravan game, if I'm not wrong. And the way you've evolved, and then I see you randomly in Dubai at a Web3 event, and I was like, hey, I know this guy, and I've been following him for a while, but I'm glad that we are able to do this. So you have seen the complete journey evolve, um, from basic arcade games on phone to today the AAA games that even you have built 4G with Akshay Kumar. Akshay Kumar is a big Indian star, a very mainstream star. Vishal and he got together and build a game that is far more relatable and more engaging than PUBG, because in India they banned about 160 odd apps back in the day because of
And by the way,
data.
yesterday this Telegram got banned in India.
I know. I just read that, and well, India is India, but tell us that how is the journey been for you? Like, where do you come from, and today where you are? In between, you were in the US, living the dream with the Ferrari and like a bachelor pad, and living it up, which is everybody's dream. And then I'm going to ask you about your amazing transformation. Last time when you came in as a surprise get, I'm like, what what happened to this guy? Like he's looking so fit. So please tell us, where do you come from, and like this journey of
So,
yours.
so Vaibhav, I have always been somebody who loves playing games, and when I was in school, I was a national level volleyball player. I used to code games, play games, and somehow I have been able to imbibe the mindset of a gamer, or if Akshay Kumar had to call it the khiladi. Uh, And I think when you think like a gamer, you think of the world very, very differently. And I believe that life, what we are talking about is what is is called the finite or the infinite game. So when you think of life as an infinite game, believe me, selling your company or all these things are not important. I think what is really important is that how do you make your life meaningful, and how do you keep leveling up as a person. And I think if you see my journey, when I was young and a coder to building my first company, I made so many mistakes. I can, it's an encyclopedia of mistakes. But then when I ended up selling the company, I was in Disney for a year, which was its own set of experience, and then leaving Disney and then starting GOQii, which is all about health and fitness and wellness. And now continuing GOQii and starting another games company. I have had the the fortune of playing a level of a game, but with more experience. So the way to think about it is, a smarter person who's playing a game. The first rule is you're not going to repeat the same mistake twice, and I think that has really been my theory, that past is the past, and whatever I did in the past is all good, it's all gone. But I'm not the same person, and you are not the same person 10, 20, 30 years back. And we all have to evolve, and that evolution has to happen at your physical level, your mental level, and I would want to add your spiritual level too. So I think, balancing these three things is really the mantra. And, whatever I am, I would say that 80% of that is because of my focus on spiritual and the mindful level, and only 20% is attributed to exercise and diet and other things.
So, guys, this live stream is over. This is the best thing that we could hear. Chalo, let's all go from here. You know, I like what you said, right? And especially when it comes from you, right? Because I've also worked very briefly with Shah Rukh Khan, and he says that in his own words, uh, gur uh, gurbat pe philosophy nahi hota, right? Where when you're poor, you can't talk about philosophy. Now I have a filter. Is that who is giving me the advice or the suggestion? I will first screen him in my head mentally, or now it is like on a subconscious level. Whether is this guy where he, wherever this guy is, do I want to be there? Or the guys, or do I admire him? Do I respect him? And you obviously check mark all that, all those boxes. So I will truly believe in every word that you say, because a lot of people perhaps just throw the similar things, which is control C, control V, but then you have already lived it. Because what was that phase of yours when you were in US with the Ferrari in a studio? Tell us that.
No, so like I said, right? So luckily for me, I never actually lived in the US. It was always something I used to keep traveling, staying for a couple of months and going back. So for me, whether it is the US or the UK or even Dubai for that matter, I've jokingly said that I make more trips to Dubai than I make to Andheri, because of how fast it is to reach Dubai. So I just think that the world has become a much smaller place. It doesn't matter where you are today. We are on video conference. We all have access to Claude and Gemini and Chat GPT, and we all have access to the best technology talent. So I think there was a time when physical location made a lot of sense. Today, I think it is really your mindset, which is really what it is. And I
No,
think in my case,
I'm sorry, you are dodging my question.
no, I'm not dodging your question. I'm basically saying that it is the mindset which mattered. So while whether I was in the US or whether I am in India or whether I am in Dubai, uh, it is the mindset of what am I doing next. And the other thing which was important to me is that who am I spending my time with. I think choosing the people who you keep
100%.
around you is the single most important thing in life.
Well, guys, this is the most important thing. I'm glad I learned it maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And for the first 3, 4 years, I was absolutely alone because I decided that if I'm not able to get myself in the right company, I might as well be alone. And believe me, that it has worked in my favor. It took time for me to change my mindset, for me to change my surroundings, and to change the people that I'm with. Because as boys, when you're growing up, when you have nothing to do, you just hang around with the same old boys who have been doing the same old stuff. Because most of us would understand this, that if we go back to where we come from, most of our friends back in the day in school or in college are still doing the same thing there. Like even now, when I go back to my old mother's area, I go there and I can recognize those guys sitting in the same place for what now, 25 years, right? 25 years. And I get scared for sitting in a place for more than half an hour, or for more than, like, a few hours. But 24 hours, same place, similar friends, same conversations, right? So I think that is a very, very important point. And you know you mentioned how this journey took place. And you, I think, somehow, I feel, again, you dished my question, saying that, were you were you reliving a childhood dream of yours, or a adult dream of yours, saying that, okay, let me go to US and let me see how the mindset is, drive a fancy car there, live a bachelor's life, and figure out stuff.
So the good thing is I don't dream too far, very frankly. I am always in the present, or I try to be in the present, because and if I dream, the dream is not of a car, the dream is not of a house, the dream is not of people. The dream is about how can I impact, how can I create a big impact. For example,
Yes.
when I was creating Indiagames, the goal was that why are games such a small business in India? Why are more people watching movies than playing games? And I'm happy to say that today India has the biggest population of gamers in the world. We have 700 million gamers who play. It is the biggest gaming population in the world, and gaming has become the most mainstream. But there is a problem which I am now trying to fix, which is that why are we not playing games which are made in India? Why is an Indian playing a Free Fire or a PUBG with characters and storylines they don't know or they don't associate with? Why can't a country of 1.4 billion people create games which are entertaining? So that's when 4G came in, and we believe that ultimately, what a average Indian is going to associate with is not Free Fire or some fantasy character from Korea or Japan. They are going to associate with characters created in India. And the fact that we have Dhurandhar be such a one of the most biggest movie exactly proves that theory, right? That it is a story so close to people's heart. So I believe that in the world of gaming, India will become the biggest creator of games. Right now, we are the biggest consumer of games. Similarly, when it comes to health, with GOQii, our vision was the healthcare system is broken because it is not healthcare, it is sick care. And what we wanted to do was, the problem of the business is not that there is no technology or no access. The problem is misalignment of incentive. Hospitals make money by treating sick people, pharmaceutical makes money by selling more drugs. They are not interested in making you healthy. Similarly, the larger problem in health was not information but motivation. So we built GoKey as a system to motivate you to reach your health goal. And as we started creating GoKey, we realized that the platform is going to lead to longevity. Because if I'm able to make you prevent diabetes, cholesterol, hypertension, and all these chronic conditions that will automatically lead to a longer and healthier life. And that's what led us to the whole longevity business. So today, my goal is, how do I make you live longer and happier with GOQii? And that is what is keeping me up. Actually, it's not keeping me up, it is letting me sleep in the night, because sleep is the most important part of good health. But the point is that, these are all the larger goals which you are having in life, and that, for me, it's always been that. And all these other things are just to be entertained and be happy and enjoy your daily life. You can't make money as your goal. And a lot of people say, I want to be a billionaire, I want to be a millionaire, I want a Ferrari, and I want this, and I want a house. And I keep saying that, you know these are outcomes. This is a byproduct of you playing, you being a good gamer, or you playing the game. If you for all the people who play games, right, if you are playing the game because of the score, you will hate the game. You have to play the game because you enjoy the game, and you will only enjoy the game if you are in the game for the long term. So in my case, I've been lucky to always be able to find a mission which I am really excited about, and then I'm able to get allies who work with me. I mean, Yatsu, for example, our common friend. Yatsu is an investor in both my companies, the gaming as well as GOQii, and even working with us on the universal health token, because he himself is so passionate. He's one of the biggest health freaks. In
Yeah.
one of the meetings, he actually came in a bicycle. We were in Silicon Valley, and I see this. I first thought it's some school kid is coming, and then I saw it's Yatsu. So the point is that, getting people who believe in your mission is so important. And luckily for me, whether it's Akshay Kumar again, who's somebody so passionate about health, he's possibly among the fittest Indians or fittest person in the world. Forget being the fittest Indian.
Yeah,
And
fittest age.
Akshay is also very patriotic, nationalism. He himself came with the name Fauji. The Fauji brand name was given to us by Akshay Kumar. That's how involved is he in the world of gaming.
I I want to check with you because you mentioned that India right now is the biggest consumer and not the biggest creator. We had Sebastian a few days ago talking about how the sandbox can, like, you can just type in, you can create games and stuff like vibe gaming kind of stuff. Uh, but I want to ask you this question, right? In India, so since I live in the UAE, the word local has a lot of value, right? When you say, hey, he's a local, right, you mean that he's something important or something big. However, in India, the word local has a very different connotation to it, right? In India, we have always fascinated or looked towards imported mal. We have always looked towards saying that this is ye bahar ka mal hai, this is so cool. So that's a big mindset problem, right? And I don't think uh, it is going to get away anytime soon, I feel, because whenever I talk to an Indian, like you have so many people, everybody's dream is to go abroad, right? Okay, well, not everybody, but most of them say that I want to go abroad. Only people who have gone abroad, they have lived there, and then they realize, oh yeah, maybe life in India is easier. But then we are the biggest exporters of talent in the world, uh, if not the biggest, at least the second biggest. We have a massive mindset problem about things that are perhaps made in India.
No,
And
actually, I see a shift there. I think that initially, of course, it was there. But I think Indians are possibly the most quality conscious. And I'll tell you why.
yeah, we are.
Because we are using the best products in the world. Think about it, right? When you are using WhatsApp, no other messenger has worked because WhatsApp is such a great product. So unless you can build something better than WhatsApp, people are not going to use you. Similarly, look at a product like Uber. Uber is in India. While Ola has tried a lot, but the user experience of Uber is so better, which is why Uber is winning over Ola. Or if you look at Amazon, and there have been a bunch of other e-commerce platforms. But now let's flip this to Zomato. Zomato's user interface is incredible. It is the number one delivery app, even though everybody's competing with them because of the high product. Look at Paytm. We have Google Pay and this pay and that pay, but Paytm is the most used
Absolutely.
product when it comes to this. So what I believe is that Indians are now become quality conscious. So if you give them an alternative which is either equal or better, they will shift. But if you are going to give them something which is inferior or than their current experience, they are not going to shift. And that's the difference between India and China, right? China has blocked most of these apps. So if your first map experience is Baidu Maps and not Google Maps, you don't even know what Google Maps can do. So India has given the opportunity of a open playing field, and you can compete by creating the best product.
You mentioned about Zomato. There is a quick trivia about Zomato and me. Back in 2012, I founded India's first midnight food home delivery service called Midnight Hunger Solutions in
Wow.
Bangalore. And then we had a couple of other people copy us and stuff like that. And then from Bangalore we went to Bombay. We started in Warsaw. Uh, but when I was in Bangalore, the team got in touch with me, and then we were just sitting and chilling. I didn't know that was the work culture of Zomato, but I thought they were all friends, just chilling and discussing. So DP, he wants to know who is my ideal audience, and luckily I come from a marketing background and events background. I was like, yeah, I think my ideal customer is either horny or hungry, because I've started delivering food only after 11 o'clock, and specifically in Bangalore, because the restaurants close at 11:30. I think now it's to 1 o'clock, but back in the day it was at 11. So when you're doing an after party, or you're just going back home, or you're working late in the night, there was no option at all. You would have to go to some dingy lane where there's an uncle cooking
Or
omelette.
eat
That was,
idli on one of those stalls, I think.
yeah, stalls, yeah, thela. So he asked me, "Who's your, target audience?" I said, I would describe my target audience as either hungry or horny." He said, "How do you think we should reach them?" I said, I just blurted out a pornography website, right? No thought behind it, but I was just connecting one point to another. And if you guys go and check out that, Zomato actually went through a lot of pain and problems for advertising on pornography websites, and I am responsible for it because of one casual statement saying that, yeah, this is who my audience is, and that's how I described my audience back in the day. So these and specifically with Zomato, it doesn't feel that you're using a chalao, for the lack of better word, or run of the mill app, right? It is highly personalized, beautiful. Wherever I travel in the world, Grab, you will look at Grab, you look at Talabat here, and use Zomato. There's no difference. So I think you are absolutely right that we, as Indians, we are very quality conscious, right? And in fact, we even have a slogan for it: "Sasta Sundar Tikau," which is, I think, every middle
And this
classes.
is why I said that if you can please an Indian customer with your product, you can take your product global.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, let me tell you, Indian consumers are not forgiving. If something goes wrong, the first thing they would go online and then put in a review, and then all over that. So that's the entire journey. But let's talk about GOQii. GOQii has raised about, I think, 100 odd million since 2014, including a Series C round in 2022, which is, I think, a 50 million. The digital health fitness app is brutal on retention. Uh, I think most of us wear a tracking device for for an aura, for being cool, like Whoop, or an Apple Watch. Uh, wo- you know, and most of the health apps never reach 50,000 monthly active users. What are GOQI's actual long-term retention, engagement, health outcomes that you have made sure that these
The
guys
good
have.
thing is that we have some very, very high retention engagement numbers. And there's a very simple insight, right? We don't have a free model. What we realized is that health is a category that if you don't pay, you don't value.
Yes.
So, it is not a model ki free app download karo and convert karo. That's the gaming model. That's the freemium model. So in health, we believe that you need a serious customer, and the serious customer needs to have a serious problem which they are looking for a solution. And then for driving that solution, you have to deliver an outcome. So, for example, our biggest partners end up becoming insurance companies because insurance companies' problem was their claims were very high. So we said that with you we'll work and we'll identify people at high risk and then give them our solution, and then we will improve their health so customer is happy, and that will reduce your claims. So it's a win-win. So what we went and did was we find the right set of partners. So whether it's an insurance company, or we went to people like the NHS in the UK, which is a national health services, saying that as a country and our government, we want to improve health outcomes. Or the third set of people we work are with employers who says that I want my employees to be healthy. I want to make sure they are able to perform. So what we figured out was that the finding the right set of partners and doing the right customer acquisition is the secret behind the right retention curve. The other thing we realized that we are in a product category which is preventive healthcare. We are not trying to target a 18-year-old gym goer. At 18, you are not thinking of preventive care. You want to maybe build your body. So our customer, like you said, your customer in Zomato was horny or hungry. Our customer is a couch potato who's about 35. Our customer is somebody who's already married, who possibly have one or two kids, who suddenly realizes that I am no longer bulletproof. What I could do before and what I can do now. But this person is not active also. They are on the couch. So our couch potato customer is very different than somebody who's already going to the gym. In fact, the person who's reached a gym is not our customer. They've already reached the gym. They're already motivated. So think about 98% of people who are on the couch are our target audience. And then we focus on delivering them an outcome. So if you have diabetes and we are able to first score you and say, hey, this is your HbA1c level. And then what we did is we focused a lot on gamification. So on the GOQii app, we show you your GOQii age. And as you improve, your age becomes lower, and we actually create a virtual character who becomes younger. So the way to think about it is that as you become healthier in the real world, your character becomes younger virtually. So we have used a lot of techniques of gamification and motivation to make people engaged and actually be on the app. And then there is a whole host of incentivization. So people earn points and coins, and that's where our UHT token, which is getting launched hopefully very soon now that the markets are getting stabilized. So the goal is eventually we believe that in this world of AI, proof of health is going to be a very, very big asset. Because if you want to today do some kind of analysis, if some AI is going to read your healthcare data, how do you prove that you are a real person and this is the real data? So that's what UHT is going to solve. So if you think of what we are really trying to do is the core of our business actually is engagement. And that is why we've been able to deliver such amazing outcomes.
Wow. Wow. And so uh, I hope the market gets better for your launch, and you have a very successful launch. How are you handling the Indian compliance? Because specifically, India uh, is absolutely against, the,
So
the
I think
token.
the good thing, Vaibhav, is we are, of course, our token partner is not domiciled in India. UHT is domiciled in Singapore and other markets. And as far as India is concerned, see, India did not have a problem with blockchain as a technology.
Yes,
I think
yes.
the challenges were all around all the scam coins and what is happening. So UHT actually is the best use case of blockchain because it is validating your health data. Who doesn't want that to happen? And it is rewarding the person to improve their health. So if you look at the goal and mission of UHT is to say that as a user, you validate your data on chain, I'm going to reward you. And then we go to the insurance companies and healthcare providers and say, hey, if I can identify you people who have valid health data, will you incentivize them? So at one end, our partners are healthcare providers, and at the other end, there are people who want to be healthy. So if you are a protein bar company, why would you go and spend money on Instagram when I already have people with me who are already looking for protein and who will prove to you by their data that I am exercising, for example? So we are creating a product which is good for the society, good for the country, good for humanity, good for everybody. So I think the real, and that's the problem of blockchain so far, that most of the use cases have been so shallow and pathetic, right? They were all eventually trying to stake somebody. It was all finally it was somehow stake the money and keep the gaming nodes and all kinds of things. So the real use case of blockchain is identity, is healthcare. It's all these things, education, and the edu token which Animoca has launched. So I think that the technology will only be mainstreamed if mainstream applications are going to use this. So far, the amazing technology of blockchain was essentially used to sell meme coins.
I have a few other questions on the Web3 aspect, but as uh, our mission is to talk about the future of money. Now, I am living under a bubble. The bubble that I live in is that everybody around me has an AI agent. I'm in a bubble that everybody is, using agentic AI and is on top of the game. What is the real scenario in India right now? Are we aware? Are we paying attention to agentic AI, or we are saying, देखेंगे बाद में? The reason why I ask you this question is I was just reading uh, so Sundar Pichai's Stanford's interview, where a lot of students actually walked out. Now, can you imagine Stanford University students walking out on Sundar Pichai because they want to show their resistance towards AI? Imagine if that is happening in Stanford. What's happening at our Indian level?
Vaibhav, you won't believe. In India, I think the AI awareness is possibly the highest in the world. Every IPL match had Google advertising its AI solutions, OpenAI advertising its AI solutions,
Oh, I
Meta
didn't know that.
advertising its AI solutions. In fact, even my house help and driver are using AI. It's so incredible. And what has happened is, PM had organized the AI summit in India a few months back, while the summit had issues. But what happened is बच्चे बच्चे के जबान पे एआई पहुंच गया है हमारे देश में. So right from the prime minister of the country to the farmer of this country, everybody is talking about AI. The second thing is because of the prevalence of Android in India, as you know, out of the billions of phones, 1.2 billion we have, all the Android phones, Google has enabled AI into it, and
Okay.
people are already using Gemini. So I'll tell you this crazy anecdote. My driver was in Pune, and he was traveling from Pune to Bombay. And suddenly he called saying that, sir, I have to wait in Pune. I said, what happened? He said, I asked Gemini, and the Gemini said that, listen, there's a big accident in the highway. Don't go ahead. So the
Wow.
AI told him, don't go. So I said, okay, don't go. So he, stayed at my friend's house. And literally that day, because of some major accident, the highway was shut for 24 hours, the Bombay Pune highway. This happened. And this guy, because AI, he asked AI, had he not asked AI, if he was just going to follow the Google Maps, he would have been stuck on the road for 24 hours without food and water. So this guy and he speaks in Marathi with his AI Gemini. So what I'm
Right.
saying is, India में जो use case होने वाला है is incredible. And the good thing about India is that while there are always people who are skeptical, most of the people are not skeptical. They are inquisitive. They want to know, they want to learn. And suddenly now I'm getting like even very form, like, people like delivery boys are sending you proper messages. People who didn't have, people who didn't know English, Hindi, they had to write broken English and broken Hindi. And now, suddenly my driver is sending me a proper, sir, this is my plan for tomorrow. And I'm like, wow, what happened? So I'm seeing that it is actually helping bridge a very important divide of communication. People did not have communication skills. They did not have writing skills. Today, suddenly, everybody has amazing writing skills, which they didn't have before. Everybody has amazing communication skills, which they didn't have before. So I would say that while, of course, there will be some people who will lose jobs, etc., but from a net basis, I think there is going to be a net gain. If you are a call center agent, then of course you will be replaced with another job. If you are just a dumb coder, you will be replaced. But if you are smart, and a lot of people are, I actually see that there is going to be a net positive effect for AI in India. And India actually has the ability, again, we are the biggest consumers of AI, period. Believe me, the biggest users of OpenAI, Chat GPT are in India. Gemini is 100% because every Android phone is enabled Gemini. So usage India is going to dominate. And even from an application perspective, right? Just think about it. Finally, for all the large companies, who's going to migrate, do AI migration? They can't do it themselves. So I believe that just like how there was the Y2K and ERP and all of that, I see all the Indian companies, whether it is TCS, Wipro, they will be doing a whole host of AI transformation. So eventually, if you need all this to happen, I think India will be there. Of course, we have a problem. We don't have models or our own LLMs, but we just saw Sarvam got funded. So
300 million, yeah.
there are certain places where we are behind. But I think the good thing is that the government is serious now this time, and I think we will catch up, or at least if not catch up, at least we will be in the race.
And what about agentic AI? Are we paying attention to that?
Oh yeah, I mean, agentic AI is the next evolution, right? So the way to think about it is that AI agents will be everywhere. Already, all our apps, Paytm is using AI agents, and Zomato has AI. So every major Indian company is deploying agents. And if you are not using, you are already interacting with agents. Already, it's happening.
I'm
Um,
talking from a kid who is going to pass out from college and perhaps who doesn't have the exposure, and AI is going to hit him in the face in a way that he or she has
Believe
no
me, these
idea.
kids are so smart. These kids are so smart. So my experience actually has been our interns are doing stuff which some of our senior developers can't do, because they
Wow,
have an advantage that they are not in the box. They
you're right.
already are starting with AI. The biggest problem which I actually see is people to unlearn. People who have been coding for 10 years, they have a problem to say, oh shit, I could do this myself faster. What is this AI done? So I think the problem of AI is going to be people who are legacy, people who don't want to learn. And in fact, I would say young people have the advantage of directly adopting. And that same thing happened, right? The digital natives, there are people who were like, I can't do online shopping. Remember, there was a time when online shopping people could not do, and then you had somebody else do online shopping for you. Today, online shopping can be done by anyone. Same thing happened with payments. Today in India, we are the highest use of QR codes. Everybody thought, oh, who will ever use QR codes in India? So the point really is that India is a very, very good adopter of technology, and it's actually adopted from the younger people, and then it goes on to the top. And same thing, whether it is agentic AI, whether it is vibe coding, all of this, I actually see that adoption is much faster in the younger people versus the seniors.
You have also been a pretty intense angel investor yourself. Uh, in today's world, where do you think you're deploying your money if you want to invest? Because I know that your syndicate that you have if somebody comes in, you even if you're not all in, like you put in a token, right, saying that okay, fine, we are here to support you. So you have
See,
created a beautiful infrastructure that ways, or an
see, today
ecosystem
it's becoming very difficult to invest because there is so much flow of companies. So the bar is very different. See, previously we were investing on somebody's deck and idea and name. Then we said MVP chahiye. Today you are expecting startups to actually have revenue and customers. So the world has changed. Just yesterday, there was the YC demo day. There are companies in a YC demo day talking about $13 million in revenue, $5 million in revenue during a YC demo day. So what has changed is that the bar has gone very, very high. So today, if you are running a startup and if you come to me or any of the investors, except maybe friends and family who may still want to give you money, the bar is very high. So you cannot come. MVP is over. MVP is you should be having when you are in your dreaming about your startup idea. Now people are expecting product, people are expecting customer, and people are expecting paying customer. So that is the bar today. And to meet that bar, there are few people. So the good news is that, of course, if your bar is anybody with an AI idea, you have a 10,000 startups right now pitching you. But in my opinion, the bar is moved, and I would not invest in a company which is just an idea or just a thought. In fact, I would say very soon the bar will be profitability. You may actually have to even show that I am making money before you would raise money.
Wow. So, but I'm assuming now that's also the same conversation even in Silicon Valley, because earlier they said never talk about revenue, like never talk about revenue back in the day in Silicon Valley. But you're saying the
Today,
conversation.
the YC startups, everybody is doing millions of dollars in AR.
Wow, wow, wow.
Because it's simple, right? Today, see, the biggest time of development was product development, people, etc. Today, using Claude or few AI agents, two people can build a whole company where what 100 people could do. So
Yeah.
all you need is Claude credits, which you can get for free if you are a good startup, and imagination and ideas.
In fact, I want to bring this to people's notice that OpenAI is giving every YC combinator $2 million, not cash, but $2 million worth of tokens, and that is a massive investment that goes in, right? Because imagine the kind of stuff that you can do with those tokens. So let's now talk about the way Web3 and now AI, right? Earlier there was a time when everybody were getting into Web3. Now majority of us are in AI. We are not thinking about AI any longer. We are in AI. We have active agents doing our.
AI is a fabric, right? I don't think so. AI can be considered separately. I think everything is AI, whether it is blockchain, whether it is ERP, whether it is SaaS. I think AI is essentially oxygen now, right? You don't tell people I live in a world with oxygen. Oxygen is already there.
Absolutely, the best way to put it across. So, you know, I'm not sure the world that we're getting into. You say that there are people who are actually working hard and getting into the agentic space. Uh, but then back in the day when computers came in, people had to just retrain themselves, right? If this was the era of only AI bots, it would have been far more easier, because then you are going to learn another tool and use that tool. But then your jobs are going to go, and at a speed that we can never imagine. Noon in the UAE has said that they are going to cut down 30% of jobs, not because they're slow or not because the company is not profitable. It is just because agentic AIs will take over that. We have seen uh, uh, what is the other company in India? Yeah, Wipro just started their Anthropic AI powered call center. And with Razor Pay, the latest demo that we saw, when a customer doesn't go through the order, the agentic AI calls the customer. That's that's great. But Do you see mass unemployment in the near future?
See, the way to think about it is that jobs have to transition. Just think about it, when the world of hair was filled with horses and bullock carts, and there were people who were selling carts and people were selling hay for the horses and repairing those carts, and there were stables for the horses, right? There were all these people having jobs and employment. And when the car was introduced, all these people said, "Arey, who's ever going to use a car?" In fact, people did not even imagine what a car could do, so they have to tell that the car is actually horse. So they called it horsepower to show the power of the car, because that time people could not imagine what a car could do. So today, of course, we can say that all the people who were selling carts and who were feeding horses have all lost their jobs. But did cars not create new jobs? Did people not go to more cities? Did that whole travel ecosystem create more jobs? So similarly, I believe that of course AI is going to eliminate a lot of people who are equivalent to the people who are building bullock carts and horse carts and feeding the horses. But AI will also create more opportunities, more companies will get created, more new ideas will come, which was not there. So the way I think about it is we will have millions of entrepreneurs who will be creating new ideas and new opportunities which you could never think about. Could you ever think drone delivery would happen? And suddenly we have now seen a war where the entire war was done in drones and tech and AI. Just think about it, right? Countries have invested billions in tanks and conventional guns and protected the borders. Do you think borders make any sense now in this new era of war? Border is itself of no use, because these weapons can go anywhere. So is this created a new industry? It has created a much bigger industry, I think. Similarly, healthcare. Currently we are thinking of healthcare equal to hospital. I believe that with longevity coming in, healthcare is going to change from being sick care to preventive care. Everybody will have all kinds of devices and all kinds of agents to take care of their health.
Are you
So
dabbling in
see, peptides again is a fad, right? I mean, peptide in itself means nothing. I mean, you need to be. I think the future of medicine is what I call personalized medicine. So the goal really is to first figure out what is your data, what is your health goal, and personalize it for you to figure out what do you actually need. So there is this whole one size fits all. Just because Brian Johnson is taking something, everybody should take it, is the most stupid thing on earth. I think the personalization engine and the science, and we are working a lot on longevity. We are part of the global X Prize competition. So I believe that eventually healthcare is going to become personal and everybody will have their own stack, rather than this just because X is having this stack, you should be having it.
So, you also have a podcast where you interview high achievers beneath the force. Um, Tell us, what are your like some of the most amazing conversation that you have learned from them? Uh,
Yeah, and actually, by the way, I started another podcast after Beneath the Force. It's called The Awakening Code, which is my latest podcast. You should check that out too. It's called The
Awakening the core.
Awakening Code.
Okay, okay. What is
It's
your
called.
like favorite part of the conversation there, or rather, like what's the best part, like best conversation that you have had there?
So I think Awakening Code was really trying to go on the intersection of spirituality, technology, and AI. So what I believe is that the biggest problem people are going to face in the AI world is that people don't will not have a purpose. So I think the challenge right now is, so think about it, right? We are all part of a rat race. Monday you wake up, go to a job. Monday to Friday you are gissoing in the job. Saturday, Sunday you are with the family. Then you go for a vacation. Then you attend weddings. You go to send off party. You go to this party. So your entire life has been created as your purpose of life is to work, earn, and live a life. Now imagine if AI is going to do 90% of the work, and if the governments or somebody figures out that, whatever, don't worry, we'll keep paying you money. You will make money sitting at home. What is going to be your purpose of life? What will you do if you have no work to do, but you still have the money? So, how do you answer that question? I think the bigger challenge is not going to be what AI is going to do to jobs. I think the bigger problem is going to be that as humans, what will you do if you have no work and you still make money? If your AI bot is working for you, what will you do, Vaibhav? Have you ever thought about that? So that was the kind of question I'm trying to answer. And in fact, I've been, I had one gentleman called, actually, he's one of the greatest Buddhist monk, Mingyu Rinpoche. Rinpoche is called the happiest man in the world. He was actually put scientifically, he was put under MRI machine, CT scan machines, and they scanned his brain and they showed him all kinds of visuals of death and people screaming, and his brain was still happy. And he spoke about happiness and consciousness, and he spoke about something very interesting, that the people who are the most unhappy and most of the people who have gone in depression are people who have won big lottery tickets. And there is data around it that after you win a huge lottery, 99% of these people lose all their money, go downhill. So happiness is not equal to money is most important thing, and which I think people need to really understand, that what is happiness. And of course, we can always say that once you have money, you will say all of this. But the reality is that money is actually not the source of happiness, it's purpose. And if you think of Elon Musk, believe me, Elon Musk is where he is not because of money, it's because of his vision of taking humanity to Mars and
Yeah.
making the whole world interplanetary. Who else is he competing with? There is zero competition. He's not making a rocket. He's basically saying that tomorrow, Vaibhav and Vishal, if you ever have to leave Earth and go to another planet, I'm the only one and he's the only one. And that is why he's the world's biggest trillionaire, because he's not saying that I'm here to make more money. He's never said that. He's here to change the world for humanity. So I think that's really the purpose. And once you find your purpose, the game changes. And that is what I have been trying to do with my podcast, The Awakening Code.
What do you think are some of the key questions to ask ourselves to find out what is the purpose? Because I'm sure a lot of us listening who perhaps are confused what is the purpose, because today our purpose is to make $1 million a day. Tomorrow our purpose is perhaps just sit and chill. So I think what you have touched is a very important subject. Do you have some questions that one can ask themselves,
So
or
I would say that first of all, please check out the podcast. It's on YouTube, on all the channels. And I think the most difficult thing or the most easy thing in life is to find the purpose, because the simple thing is that if you say my purpose is to be rich, that itself is the wrong purpose. Your purpose has to be always about what do you want to do for others.
seva?
If your purpose is what I want to do for me, then it is not purpose. Purpose needs to be, and by the way, there are many frameworks. And by the way, I really like, if at all you can check out the TED talk by Simon Sinek, where he talks about the why. The why is very important. So the why is more important than the what. That why are you doing something? And there is a whole framework where you can discover your why. And that's when I told you that the most important thing is spirituality or mindfulness, because the only way you can find yourself is to go inside you. You will not find this answer outside. You have to go inside. You have to internalize this. And the bigger journey is not going outside, it's going inside.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what are some of the conversations other than the happiest man that you mentioned that really touched you, and you're like, really, like, what was your aha moment?
So there have been quite a few guests on the show, which I said. So for example, one of the guests was a very dear friend of mine, Chef Vikas Khanna, who's a master chef. He owns this restaurant called
We
Bungalow.
share the same birthday. We are a birthday twins, by the way.
Amazing. So Vikas is, and his whole point is that he is, being a Michelin star chef is the most difficult job in the world. I don't know if you know that. Because
Yeah,
as an athlete or a cricketer or a footballer, you have to perform on the day of the match. As a Michelin star chef, you
every
have to
single
deliver
day.
every night. Every night you have to deliver. You have to hit a century if you were Virat Kohli, or if you were Messi, you have to score 3 goals, or if you were, any other sportsman, you have to deliver your best. So, and then the second thing is that he is so passionate about his craft. It is amazing how he's able to achieve this. One of my other guests, of course, Yatsu himself was there on the show. We talked about it. And then I have another friend of mine. His name is Tapan Singhal. He's the CEO of India's largest general insurance company. And he talked about that how he thinks of insurance as a way to serve humanity, because when people lose their farm or their houses and all of that, how this is his service to humanity, right? He's not running this as a business, which is why they are the largest general insurance company in the world. They're not denying claims. So his whole philosophy was that we charge high premium because we want to pay claims. And people think that, oh, the premium is high, but actually what really matters in insurance is not the premium, but actually, are you paying your claims? So people, because people don't, people think that, "Arey, I want the cheapest premium," but you don't want the cheapest premium. You want somebody who actually would go and honor the claim when something goes wrong. And I'm sure all of us have experienced that when it comes to the time of claims, how insurance companies find ways to deny or delay your claims. So there have
Absolutely.
been some incredible people. One other person which I was able to bring is a gentleman called MR Rangaswamy. He runs an organization called Indiaspora. So he's created a global organization to connect all Indians together. And these are not just entrepreneurs. So think about Indian scientists, doctors, professors, teachers. So he's got the best Indian brains together and created a community. And the goal is that as Indians become more and more smarter and more powerful, as you know, Silicon Valley, either a CEO or a CTO is an Indian today on every tech company, right? Similarly, the highest earning population in the US, the single highest is India. Similarly, in the Middle East, we already know the success Indians have seen. But the problem was Indians were always divided as Tamil community, Gujarati community, Punjabi community. Nobody thought of creating a Indian community. Could we come united as India? So his idea was very novel, and he talks about how India is coming to the forefront. So I think there have been some incredible
When are you
conversations. And
when are you bringing on the founder of Paytm?
Vijay, I've done a podcast with him today, but he's going to be soon on the podcast. So Vijay and I, of course, are dear friends, and I think Vijay is again somebody who I have a lot to learn from. Right? I mean, his grit, his passion, his vision, and I think one thing about Vijay is that he does not get impacted by setbacks, right? People, he lost an entire banking license. He's gone through so many ups and downs, but he kept ascending. And today Paytm is back, even though the whole world was against what was happening at Paytm. So I think,
How do you think he's
learning.
wired like that? Like, what do you think? Like, why is he wired like that?
That's what I said.
Because
He's unbreakable, right? He's unbreakable, and he's unbreakable because people don't know that what is driving him, right? People, if money drives you, all of this will break you because your stock has fallen, everything has fallen, right? Which is why I always say that if his vision was every Indian should be using digital. Today with Paytm and how he's trying to get financing to people at scale. The problem in India today is that still we have millions of merchants who don't have access to capital. So I think his vision and mission is so powerful that all these things don't shake him. And then he's a net giver. I think the other thing about Vijay is that wherever he is always a net giver. He does more for you than you could ever do for him. And this is
I
true for whether it's his shareholders, whether it is his employees, whether it is his people, whether it is his friends. Everybody, when you do something with Vijay or for Vijay or because of Vijay, Vijay will always be the one giving you more.
absolutely. I've had a conversation with him, casual conversation with him, and his he doesn't seem like this this person that we have in our head, right? He's the most chilled out guy that you can have a conversation with, and the way he would respond to you is like a college buddy, and I think that's a beauty about him, and the way he at the level he operates. uh, we have come to an end of the time that you had given me. I'm working hard to make sure that I end it exactly, because I'm ideally notorious to kind of stretch it a little, ask a couple of more questions. But the last question that I want to ask you, in so very recently I was diagnosed with chronic adult ADHD. I had no idea. I just thought, I'm lazy, or I don't have the right motivation, and all of that. Now, there are a lot of people in India who are going through this. I'm not going to say suffering through this, but going through this, because uh, the way you use it is going to be there. But I think in India there is absolutely no uh, uh, exposure or understanding about adult ADHD, or chronic ADHD. Uh, what can we do about it? Like, and what do you think are people going to do with ADHD? How do you think they are going to step up in life?
So interestingly, right? Forget about ADHD. Overall, one of the biggest problems we are facing is, as a humanity, is mental well-being, and it's because we have been bombarded with dopamine every day. Every app, every product is trying to give you dopamine. And forget adults, the kids are the biggest problem with ADHD, and we work a lot, by the way, in ADHD. We have programs focused on ADHD, and it's all because of we are all being dopamine addicted. In fact, people are weaponizing dopamine and other things using apps and tools, etc. Right? I mean, TikTok, Instagram, this is just doom scrolling. I'm glad UK also announced a ban under 16. Australia has announced, and I'm really hoping that Indian government actually bans these social media toxic apps for kids, because this is creating that same problem of ADHD for kids. So all I would say is that just the way we consume junk food, and that junk food leads to obesity and diabetes. Junk content is what is the single biggest reason of ADHD, what you consume. And if you are consuming junk, and that junk content could be reels, it could be whatever, YouTube videos, pornography, etc., etc. So junk content is what is feeding your mind, and that is creating the problem. So if you shift, I'm not saying don't consume content, but if you listen to podcasts, read books, listen to TED Talks, if you just shift your content consumption, just the way how you can eat healthy food versus junk food, that itself will start fixing your overall mental and physical well-being, because uh, all of this stems to the consumption of junk content. And the junk content sources are also very important. Social media apps are the worst in this. And then the last point is sleep. Your sleep is really getting impaired. So, and apps like Netflix and Amazon, if you Google Netflix openly, their CEO has said that their competition is not any other app, their competition is sleep. So if Netflix, imagine that there is a $1 trillion company who's saying that I don't want Weber to sleep, I want him to see my content so that I make more money. So every time you are binge watching a show, remember that it is at the cost of your mental and physical well-being, and for some other company who's making billions of dollars. So I think awareness is the most important aspect. If you get aware of what is, like in food, eating cake, eating fried food is making you, so what I can aware. But ADHD and overall mental well-being is really around software, what you're consuming. And then finally, purpose. When I talked about mindfulness and spirituality, it is about finding your purpose. If you find your purpose, everything else will become clearer itself. So you have to go inward, find your purpose, and fix what you consume physically and mentally, and you become a superhuman.
Thank you, Vishal, for your time, guys. Remember that this conversation is about future of money, right? And the most important part about the future of money is you, your mindset, and your physical body, because there is
And your
no
mental
amount.
body and your mental
Yes,
well-being.
yes, because there's no amount of money can actually fix it. I know there's a lot of times that even I believe that money can fix 99% of the problems, right? But the moment you realize and you fix those 99% of your problems, you will realize that these were not even 2% of your problems. You just assumed that these are your 99% of the problems. Vishal is somebody who has done some amazing work throughout his life. And there is one thing that I want to say is that one post of yours, I think I told you this in person also, that one post of yours really inspired me. You had mentioned about your mother on her birthday, that what some of the things that your mother taught you. And you mentioned that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. So I don't know from which book or which author that is from, but for me, I take that from you, and I've used that in my life multiple times, because life is such that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And for everybody watching us out there, do check out Vishal and his podcast. I will drop a link in the bio also, so that you can go and check it out. And I think this has been one of the most fulfilling conversations. And I think this is what I live for. This is what my purpose is, to decode the future of money and have interesting conversations every day with some of the best minds in the world, like Vishal Gondal. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone. Bye.